Hi class, it's Ms. Moran again. Um, I'm going to go over briefly chapter 9 of our step-by-step book, uh, and it deals with the level 2 codes, which are national codes. We call them HCPCS. HCPCS stands for Healthcare Common Procedure Coding System, HCPCS. And the HCPCS codes were developed by the CMS and formerly named Healthcare Finance Administration. And the HCPCS were developed in 1983. Uh, the CPT did not contain all the codes necessary for Medicare, why they came up with the HCPCS codes. So as we mentioned from chapter 8, we had 3 levels of codes. Level 1, which is CPT, you have your CPT book there. Level 2, your HCPCS book, which is the smaller one, and those are known as national codes. And those codes are revised. So the codes are used for a wide variety of providers, physicians, dentists. The codes for dentists all begin with the letter D. Orthodontists, temporary codes for Medicare, and for different kinds of services, like for specific drugs, for durable medical equipment, for ambulance services, for prosthetics, for orthotics, and for HCPCS gains popularity from many payers are requiring the HCPCS codes nowadays, and each year there's an increased number of HCPCS codes. Here's one right over here, J0585 Botox per unit. Now, we all know that Botox for wrinkles is not a medical necessity, but Botox is used for other reasons as well. I know of one which is used for hidradenitis. So where are HCPCS codes used? Well, in outpatient settings, including outpatient departments in a hospital. And that would be, for example, if you go in for an ultrasound at a hospital, but you're outpatient, that's an outpatient service, but it's at a hospital. They're used for level 1 and 2 codes to report outpatient services for certain payers. And the coverage is just because an item or service has a HCPCS code, that does not mean that the service is covered by the insurance company. Okay, like right over here, we have here, for example, a hearing aid that Medicare will not cover that. Binaural hearing aid. Code grouping in the HCPCS, the first digit is always going to be a letter followed by 4 numbers, and you can see it in your textbook. We have temporary codes, and certain letters like G, K, Q, S, and T indicate a temporary code. Example, K006 is for a heavy-duty wheelchair. The code book is published every January, but codes are added and deleted and revised throughout the year. So if a code is revised, you should get a notification from your insurance carrier. Miscellaneous codes are reported when no adequate level 2 HCPCS code is available. When there's no adequate code available. For example, the miscellaneous codes serve as a placeholder until a more specific HCPCS code is identified. So when these temporary codes are used. Additional information is required for reporting, like a description, manufacturer name, etc., product, NDC number, price. Submission of miscellaneous codes without this additional information, denial. So updating the HCPCS manual, and it's actually, we're talking about the HCPCS coding book. There's a full code set update released by CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, in November for use the following January, just as the CPT. Updates provide quarterly online information, and we use most of the current HCPCS information is in the manual. HCPCS format includes general guidelines, list of modifiers. We have an index. We have a table of drugs. So the index directs us to specific codes. And unlike the CPT, which has the index in the back of the book, the HCPCS has the index in the front of the book. So you reference the main, after you locate the term in the index, you reference the main portion text before assigning the code. See if here's an example right over here in the index. This is the, it's in alphabetical order, by the way, and this right over here is the drugs right here. So you can see the main term is right over here, nandrolone, and then the subterm is deconate. Alphanumeric listing, always beginning with a letter and then the numbers. So further explain what the code is, what it includes. For example, what the code, when we go into the main section, we see here A4918 and the description: venous pressure clamp for hemodialysis. Each means each one that is used, each clamp that is used. So if there's 2 clamps used, you will use this code 2 times. Never code from like with the CPT. The index is only used to look up the code. We have modifiers in the HCPCS book, coding book, and we see right over here, for example, AM is used for physician team member service. There's anatomic site locations, and they add specificity to durable medical equipment, for example, new equipment in new. Okay. Anatomical modifiers, and you'll see these also in your CPT book at the back of the front cover. Often used HCPCS modifiers are LT for left and RT for right. An example would be right kidney biopsy, 50200-R2. Left kidney biopsy, 50200-LT. Ambulance modifiers, okay, need to pay attention to this. Ambulance modifiers are used only when you're billing for an ambulance service, okay? The first letter of the modifier is for the origin, and the second letter is for the destination. Example, OR is for residence. So it would be like, for example, the code and then RH. So the ambulance went to the residence and then took the patient to the hospital. So the origin is where the ambulance went, and the destination is where is it taken the patient. We have 4 ABN modifiers, that's Advanced Beneficiary Notice modifiers, and this is used in when it's not, if we're not sure that Medicare is going to pay for a service, we have to advise the patient, hey, you know, we don't know for sure if Medicare is going to pay for this, and we have to make the patient aware. So it's their choice. If Medicare doesn't pay, then they're going to have to pay out of pocket. So we need to tell them that up front. There's a GA modifier for ABC form sign. It's supposed to be ABN sign. GX, non-covered charges only. GY, service items statutorily excluded. GZ, service or item expected to be denied. Do not report ABN modifiers together. So for example, you cannot say non-covered and you cannot put GX and GZ together. This is what this is saying. So GX, non-covered charges only, and GY can be used together. And this is what an ABN looks like, Advanced Beneficiary Notice. And you'll have one in your book, in your step-by-step book, in figure 9.8. So we would fill out the information and have the patient. It's got to be signed. You can see down here, got to be signed by the patient and and dated. We have also in the HCPCS book a table of drugs and an alphabetical order like we can see right over here. Drug name and the dosage amount, method of administration, and the HCPCS code. So routes of administration is very important. Some drugs are injected only, some are oral, and some are intravenous, some are intramuscular only, some are subcutaneous only. So that's why it's important to pay attention to that. And you can see, for example, this digoxin, J1160, injection digoxin up to 0.5 milligrams. Now, if your patient received 1.5 milligrams, you're going to have to bill this 3 times. Or on your claim form where it says units, you will put 3. J codes are used for injections. And when we talk about injections, there's different kinds. We know that intramuscular, intravenous, intrathecal, subcutaneous, etc. So DME stands for durable medical equipment. That's used for a chronic disabling condition, and the Medicare and Medicaid pay for some of the DME items. A doctor, a physician is going to have to attest to the certificate of medical necessity, like why this patient needs this hospital bed, for example, at home. Now, home oxygen therapy, Medicare may also pay for oxygen with certain medical diagnosis. Again, the physician must complete the form, and physicians know that. That's the conclusion for our chapter 9. Okay, well, again, if you have any questions, I'm over here for you, so please feel free to contact me. You have a great afternoon.